What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? This is week 154 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. We are inundated right now with LSU Tigers rolling all around my little spot down here as they take on the UCLA Bruins this weekend. But Cleveland, you got some things going on over there. Before we get started, you want to tell the people what's going on?
Oh, Cam, simultaneously as we are doing this show, I am also indoctrinated in one of my fantasy football drafts. Not the one for the Voice of the Fans. That's the most important one.
That comes up on Sunday.
That's the one that you guys should be concerned with. But I do have an ancillary fantasy football league that I do with my uncle, and he's been talking trash pretty much all week. So I am engaged in that as well. So it should be an interesting show, fans.
Well, you need a little practice, so you get a little time to get some practice in. You get some picks in. Who's your top picks? Where you at? Let the fans know where you are.
Sure. So my first pick was 16. I took Austin Eckler. For some reason, he was still there. And
okay,
at 17,
not bad.
Stephon Diggs was my second pick.
What? Who?
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, you just told me how overrated Stephon Diggs was a year ago. In fact, 2 years ago, I asked you if the Seahawks should trade for him, and what did you tell me? You specifically told me he was overrated.
Didn't like him. Right.
And so last year, what happened? What happened?
Well, he exploded. From a fantasy football perspective, he is extremely productive, and he has a quarterback that is, turning the corner. And I like that double dip.
Slow down on that corner. Slow down on turning that corner. Slow down there, buddy.
And I may have to regroup, fans. So sorry, excuse me, because my guy is very close to being picked. So the suspense is killing me, just like it's killing you guys, man. Can I get Josh Allen in double dip or not?
Would I get? Is your question? Can you or would you or should you? Man, there's a lot, guys.
Oh, is it twofold? Oh, yeah, I should definitely double dip with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs.
Kyler Murray's available.
They're going to be in the AFC Championship. I mean, for crying out loud.
Well, let's get the show started. We're going to get to that later. Let's get the show started, Cleveland. You can let us know how this pick goes. I would suggest Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers or Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson. How'd you go Josh Allen before Russell Wilson?
I like the double dip, Cam. I like the double dip. I like the double dip on fools.
Well, they're playing in a tough AFC East competition. They're playing in the competitive AFC East, so I wouldn't be so happy about that double dip in there. But anyway, we got Cleveland. That's one of the things we got going on today is Cleveland's fantasy draft. We're going to talk about the NFL cuts that's happened this week. We got Deshaun Watson. It came up again, Cleveland. I don't know. You thought I was before the whole masseuse parlor escapade went down. You thought I was saying stuff you thought I was talking crazy when I said the Dolphins should go get him, and it turns out the Dolphins should really go get him. They're thinking about it. Stephen Ross is even said, "Hey fellas, go down there, check it out. Give Houston a call, see what it'll take to get it done." And you see. The head coach just every time somebody asks him about Deshaun Watson, he gets stumbling and stammering over his words, and he doesn't quite know what to say because he knows that the word has been handed down from Stephen Ross, who apparently listened to the show and told the crew figure out what's going on. So we're gonna get into that Deshaun Watson conversation. There's been some movement in the NBA, so we're gonna have some NBA conversations as well, like we always do. And then, fans, as Cleveland's trying to make his prediction, make his fantasy football picks, we're going to make our.
Hey, fans, excuse me so much. Cam, if you would not hold us 1 second, you know what's going to be happening during the show. So this is one of those moments. So please, just 1 second.
Kyler Murray with the number 3. Aaron Rodgers with the number 3. And he calls himself a Seahawks fan, but he won't take Russell Wilson. Ouch. I'd question his fandom, Seahawks fans. The rest of you guys in the 206, I will question that fandom. I would certainly question that fandom. Anyway, fans, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have make our NFL predictions here later on in the show. We're gonna get to this week in history, and then Clevon's making his fantasy football picks in preparation for Sunday, so he's getting practicing. Want to give a shout out to the guys at HNB Media TV. If you're not watching the show on HNB Media TV, you need to be following HNB Media TV on Yahoo, or excuse me, on YouTube. If you're watching the show on HNB Media TV, go ahead and give me a follow. Voice of the Fans on YouTube.
I'm all the way back, fans. And by the way, fans, I'm all the way back. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. Who'd you take?
I went Dak Prescott, DeAndre Swift.
Oh, you got the final pick? Where did Najee Harris get picked?
Oh no, I had the 16th pick. That's when I picked.
So it's snake draft, and you're at the back end.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so DeAndre Swift. Well, that was a reach there, huh?
Well, there's no more backs at pick 57, Cam. I did the best I could.
That was a reach there. Is this a PPR league?
Yes, it is.
Should have went receiver. Should have went receiver with the.
Okay, well, hey man, let's not worry about what I'm doing here. I'm just keeping the fans informed of what
Dak Prescott. Yeah, well,
a Jerry Jones type of establishment looks like. When we're just trying to win championships.
Well, fans, we know what the problem is already. we know what the problem is already. So as I was stating, go ahead and give us a follow. You Voice of the Fans on YouTube. You can check us out on any podcast platform if you're on the go, if you're traveling, if you're away from home, and got the wife and kids in the car. Go ahead. You can listen to us on Spotify, Tuned In, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, any podcast platform that you're listening to. You can hear Voice of the Fans podcast. So ask Alexa, she'll help you out with that. We thank you for that as well. So as we jump into the show, every week. We ask to start off with our numbers and who wore the number best, or who first comes to your mind when you think of the number. And today, with September 2nd, 2021, this is week 154. We're going to start off with the second, number 2. Who wore that number best? Was it Nate Robinson or Isaiah Thomas?
Well, Cam, the person that comes to mind first is Kawhi Leonard, just because he plays for Steve Ballmer's Los Angeles Clippers, and they certainly have an opportunity to do some major things this year. And his health, of course, is paramount. So, just in the way that he was, such a valiant warrior when he was in there, and then just the precipitous drop. He wasn't in there. So he kind of the first person that comes to mind. And who wore it best is the King of New York, aka Frank White, aka Derek Jeter.
Okay. As somebody who claimed to own the campuses down in Montlake at the University of Washington, who wore the number 2 better, Isaiah Thomas or Nate Robinson?
Nate Robinson.
Okay, that's fair.
Although the number 2 wasn't on the football field, he certainly brought the program to extreme prominence and a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, which is the first and only time they've ever done that. So I would have to say Nate.
Okay. Number 54. Who wore that number best, or who comes to mind first?
First person is Bobby Wagner, and the person probably wore it best is probably Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner. He wore it better than Brian Urlacher?
I think he's had a better career already than Brian Urlacher, yes.
So you got Bobby Wagner going in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Interesting.
5 years after he decides he's ready to retire.
5 years after first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's what that means, yes.
So no concerns with the flights to and from Germany every year to go get the blood spinning? You know, no
Well,
concerns,
I mean,
no
so
concerns
far
that
so
he's
good. I have you heard of any failed drug tests? No. It
I mean,
apparently seems to be working for him. So continue to go down that path. Use that method for making yourself better.
You know, the NFL has some kind of lax drug policies, and they kind of give you a window to go get some.
No, not really, because when they hit you, they hammer you, and they're looking.
When they hit you, they hammer you, but they kind of let you know in advance when that's coming. So, you no concerns about him going to Germany every year to mixing
No
his
concerns
blood up
whatsoever, Cam. No concerns whatsoever.
You don't think the voters are have any concerns about what he's mixing
No,
with his blood?
because he would have failed a drug test otherwise. So no.
I mean, Kobe didn't fail a drug test, so what did that tell you? Did that tell you anything?
What's that?
Kobe never failed a drug test. So what did that tell you? That didn't tell you nothing.
Wow. What does that tell you?
Nothing. So you keep wanting to say he never failed a drug test.
So that tells you that
nothing.
That's not going to be some type of thing that they're going to make their decision upon, whether he went to Germany or not to have the special treatments done.
Okay, I'm just wondering. I mean, is that a topic? Is that a topic up there?
No, this is the first time I've ever heard of anybody even questioning what he does. So very interesting that it was you of all people.
So when he's having his plumbing commercials, nobody questions about, hey, what when you go over to Germany, what's going into the blood? Are they just spinning it, or what's? They're not adding.
Nobody cares
a little bit
because they feel like if something bad was going on, he would be suspended, right?
Nobody cares. Okay, that's a better way to put it. Nobody cares.
Fans, just one moment.
Who's on your watch list now? You should have got another receiver. Clevon is doing his fantasy football draft. I'm not sure.
Fans, hang tight. I'm drafting 2 spots here real quick. I'll be right back to you and let you know how it went.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get into this Deshaun Watson conversation. Clevon thought I was nuts midway through last season when I said the Dolphins should go ahead and trade for Deshaun Watson. This is before all of the masseuse escapades, and he decided to fly some in from, Alabama, Tennessee, Nashville, into Houston, Florida, into Houston to kind of get his special massage. And then, what I like to say about that is in South Florida, in Miami, we have special places that Deshaun Watson can go, or people he can call to kind of get his massages taken care of, to get himself taken care of. So that's not an issue. That will not be an issue moving forward. And we would petition Roger Goodell to say, hey, go ahead and let this kid play. He's suffered a wealth of personal PR damage to his name. But before that, he's been a quality candidate.
Fans, I'm back.
Before he suffered this damage to his name, he's been a quality citizen on and off the field since his days at South Carolina at Clemson. So with that being said, Mr. Goodell, we would petition that you kind of excuse Deshaun Watson's choices of masseuse and allow him to play for our Miami Dolphins once we go ahead and trade for him. Like I was telling the fans, Clevon, that last year, midway through the season, you thought I was nuts when I said the Dolphins should go ahead and trade for him. But then you also thought I was nuts when I said Patrick Mahomes should be the starter in Kansas City. So I have a track record of making good decisions here as far as the quarterback goes. And it's interesting that just now, or the past weekend, conversations heated up against conversations to get Deshaun Watson on board of the Miami Dolphins. What's your thoughts on that? And will we see Deshaun Watson play in 2021?
So a couple things, Cam. I know that you're going to hang on to that Patrick Mahomes pick till you're 122 years old. Man, great prognostication on your part and he's a Super Bowl winner. No, you were not wrong about that.
Okay, all right. Just trying to point some stuff out to the fans.
And yeah, and so that success, that great pick will, apparently be your calling card for quite some time. As it refers to Deshaun Watson and what he's doing,
Terrell Davis being
excuse me. Anyways, great pick on the Patrick Mahomes thing.
I can bring up Stephon Diggs.
Congratulations. You were still a little bit off on the Russell Wilson thing, but that's okay. He's only made like 117 starts in a row. That's all right though. Anyways, back on topic, Cam. Deshaun Watson in Miami is not going to happen. I'm so sorry, you guys. They keep messing with you guys like that. Like that's a possibility. Your starting quarterback is going to be Tua Tagovailoa. Start of the season, this season, next season, and hopefully for many years to come. You need to get on that bandwagon, and you need to stop looking over the fence, because the grass is not always greener. And certainly when you're talking about someone that's not all about family, Ohana, he's not all about tradition. He doesn't really have a real, kind of stable track record when it comes to these things, and it's all coming to light.
He's a Superman on the field. That's all we care about. Superman on the field. The off the field stuff, we can mentor him and coach him into that role.
Coach Flores from the top down, which has been establishing this culture, has already said, "Yeah, Cam, that's not the deciding factor. That's not the most important thing.
Exactly.
It's about culture and character, of which Deshaun Watson has neither." So, yeah. They don't really want him over there. They sent out some feelers as to what it would take to get him. 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders. Yeah, it's a little high.
No, that's not.
Not going to get it done.
That's not going to get it done, and I don't think get that from anybody, especially when we have what it
and
takes.
Lastly, Deshaun Watson will play the first 4 to 6 games of the season until some more of that evidence comes out, whether it's audio or visual.
So you do have him playing this season. You do have Deshaun Watson playing this season. Okay. And now the only question is, will he be in the aqua and blue or the aqua and orange, or will he still be in Houston? Because I don't think he's going to be in Houston.
He's going to be in Houston. There is no aqua and orange in his future.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Over the weekend, we saw something that we haven't seen in the actual NFL game, a game of note, a game that mattered. Since maybe when Dan Reeves shuttled in a couple quarterbacks every other series, every other play, we saw Kyle Shanahan shuffle in Jimmy G and Trey Lance. Jimmy G get a couple plays, Trey Lance get a couple plays. Jimmy G's back in there, he gets a couple plays, Trey Lance gets a couple plays. What do you think of that philosophy? And do you think that's something that we're going to see here in their game 2021?
No, I don't like that philosophy. I don't like that game plan. You need to stick with your quarterback to let them get some continuity, to let them get some rhythm, and some cohesion with the team. And so the team doesn't like it when you just are constantly pulling the starting quarterback in and out of the lineup. It's not beneficial to anyone. The franchise can't go with that method going forward. So they just need to make a decision on who's going to be the starting quarterback. Unfortunately, they're reluctant to say that. They don't really think Trey Lance is ready for it. But at the same time, they don't really think Jimmy G is durable to play a full season. So they're kind of in the middle of like, what do you do about all this?
Well, you're going to have to go with the veteran. That would only make sense. And let the young rookie learn a thing or two and kind of pick up some pointers. He's made some good plays in preseason. He's made some bad plays, obviously, in preseason. So I think the strategy there is to let the veteran play, let the young guy look over his shoulder, and then kind of think about things before he can get a start in the league. The rotating of the player and the other quarterbacks, I don't think it's prudent for NFL football. The players have to kind of get a rhythm. The linemen have to understand the cadence. The The running backs have to understand kind of their footing in the backfield. The receivers need to kind of get the feel for, when they get open, how this quarterback is going to get them the ball. And those are some of the things that the benefits and the reasons why you stick with one quarterback over the other. So it'll be interesting to see how in the regular season how they play this, but I say go with the rookie. I say go with the veteran before you bring the rookie in regards to the San Francisco 49ers. And speaking of another team that played in the Bay Area, the Raiders went out and signed KJ Wright. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. Congratulations to KJ for finding a home. A week before the season started, I know that my Seahawks were definitely in constant negotiations and talks and kind of monitoring where his head was, what he wanted to do, and what
they weren't interested. They weren't interested. So kudos to KJ.
They were interested. Unfortunately, what KJ Wright was, and rightfully so, requesting as far as salary wise, wasn't something the Seahawks can match.
Well, the Seahawks don't pay anybody, so they
paid Jamal Adams is highest paid safety in the game.
Oh wow! So they got two.
They had the highest paid safety in the game. I think 4 times over Pete Carroll's tenure. Highest paid cornerback, highest paid linebacker, highest paid quarterback. They've had all of those things.
You're not telling the whole truth.
That's why is that not the whole truth?
The highest paid safety, they pay one person who happened to be the highest paid for the next 3 years because nobody was.
So sorry, fans. I'll be right back with you. Can't hold that thought.
Let's see what it's doing, fans. Talk to us. What you think? What you thinking about over there? What you doing?
I'm looking for a receiver. I see Jarvis Landry out here. I see Michael Pittman Jr. out here.
Jarvis Landry's a 100 catch guy.
I see Curtis Samuel out here.
Jarvis Landry's a 100 catch guy. Is Brandon Ayuk out there?
Ayuk is not.
Brandon Ayuk. What round are you in?
We're gonna go with Jarvis.
Well, that's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick. So far you got a receiving core of Stephon Diggs and Jarvis Landry, 2 guys you don't like.
I know it. Sometimes in fantasy, you just have to, put your personal feelings aside.
2 guys you do not like and would not root for if your life depended on it.
No. You like that, don't you?
Those are two quality picks. It's just how you spin this is hysterical because I know it's 2 guys that you don't care for. So you need another running back because go for it. Get dude from Denver, number 33 from Denver. Yeah, well, I don't know why I'm helping you out, but if he's still there, 33 from Denver, pick him up. This year he should still be right there.
No.
You let time run out?
We did. Hell.
33 from Denver should still be Campbell, I think his name is.
You know what happened? I'm not paying attention. This player clearly is gone.
Well, now he's going to try to blame the show, fans. Now he's going to try to blame the show on his ineptitude as a fantasy football manager.
God, man, hold on. These guys are really like.
Javonte Williams. You need to look him up, bro.
Yeah, no, for Denver? Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's there.
I don't know why I'm helping you out, but he should still be there this late. What are you, 6th or 7th round?
This is a 16-man league, Cam. I keep telling you that. It's like my picks are not that.
Yeah, but it's a 16. It's a 6th round. Somebody came up on Williams.
Sure did, man. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not like in the queue, man. So I'm like turning around, like what's available. Like, oh, okay, whatever.
So you didn't put all your players in the queue.
No, I don't do all the players in the queue, man.
That's how you
I'm
know
not
who
thinking
you
for
want.
like 24 more turns, and I'm gonna turn around, and my dude might be gone. Anyways, man. Back to the show.
Man,
You were saying.
I was saying KJ Wright, the Seahawks did him dirty, and I hope he
No, they
comes
did
back.
not do him dirty. They had a replacement for him. They wanted to bring him back at what was reasonable for the franchise and reasonable for him, man.
So the Seahawks just signed a Hooper, a basketball player. Are they going to put him at defensive tackle, or are they going to put him at offensive guard? Where they going to put this guy?
Oh no, he's playing right cornerback position, Cam.
The right cornerback position.
Yeah.
So
you got DJ Reed on the left side. He's going to play the right side.
You're taking the two guard and going to put him at cornerback.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Seattle for you. And they're going to try to underpay him. You know what he's making $750 a year.
Of course, they got to play him at quarterback. Don't worry about what they're going to play him, Cam. Why are you trying to throw salt, man?
I'm just asking what your team is doing. That's all. I can't inquire about what your team is doing. Now you don't want to talk about how your team is
signing a player that's probably not going to be, very, instrumental in whether they win or lose the Super Bowl. So who cares?
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about Minshew, Gardner Minshew getting traded to the Eagles. Is that a good thing for who? Is that better for Minshew or is that worse for Hurts? And
it's better for Minshew and worse for Hurts. I don't really understand if they thought that Jalen Hurts could potentially be their future franchise quarterback. Why you would trade for somebody that's thrown for 3,000 yards in the league?
Well, there was only other team flirting with Deshaun Watson. So now that they're out of the mix, it should be Deshaun Watson should be pulling up in South Florida any day now. So we'll see how that works out.
Cam, I'm so sorry. Deshaun Watson's not coming to Miami.
Okay, man, you keep saying that, man. If I trusted you, man, Terrell
trust Brian Flores.
Terrell Davis wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame by now if we listen to you. And a lot of things.
Trust Brian Flores and what he's saying and the culture he's trying to.
Well, if he's trying to ride with Tua Tagovailoa, I can't trust Brian Flores. Okay.
Oh wow.
If he was trying to ride and stick with
Tua Tagovailoa, let me write this down. At 7:36.
Yeah.
At 7:36.
If he's trying to ride
on 9/2/2021,
Cam said.
I say it again.
If you're trying to trust Tua Tagovailoa, you can't ride with Brian Flores. Oh,
if he's trying to ride with Tua Tagovailoa, I'm not trusting Brian Flores. That's the problem with Deshaun Watson out there. Come on, stop it.
And when the Dolphins come, play the Los Angeles Chargers at SoFi, man, just go ahead and ask him that. Go ahead and tell him that's how you feel.
I'll let him know. I might not have to wait that long. I might see him in Vegas.
Okay, we'll do that.
Week 3. Yeah. So there's another backup quarterback. Nick Foles is out there. Should the Seahawks just go ahead and sign Nick Foles? Because this is Russell Wilson's last year in Seattle. So why don't we?
I don't know where you're getting that information from. We don't know how the season has transpired or unfolded.
I was texting Sierra last week.
Oh, okay.
And so she's like,
so Sierra came up with her Super Bowl predictions already?
No, well, she said I can only.
I would have thought she would have been a little bit more supportive about what Russ could do. That's kind of crazy. Wow, she said.
No,
she said.
She said she can only hang in there one more winner before she's going to get to the sun.
So if they win a Super Bowl, then she's out irregardless. Like if they win or don't win.
I mean, come on, they're not winning the Super Bowl. Well, they're not winning the Super Bowl. You know that they don't have no running back. They don't have no running game. They still rely on Russ, who's 30+ to run the ball. They don't have no running game. They're not winning the Super Bowl. Who's your running back? Chris Carson? That's your starting running back? Come on, you're not winning running. You know you're not winning the Super Bowl with that. Yeah, you want to write that down too? Cam says Chris Carson is not going to lead them to the Super Bowl. Yeah, write that down. Make sure you note that. So we talk about the NFL cuts that happened this past week. Cam Newton got cut. How surprised were you that Cam Newton got cut? And do you think not getting the vaccine impacted his job in New England?
Very surprised he got cut. I am not sure how much not getting the vaccine affected that decision, but the entire way through training camp, Bill Belichick had been somewhat fans. So sorry.
We'll just review a couple other cuts that were happening in the NFL. Nick Folk, the kicker for New England, he was cut. Philip Dorsey was cut from the Eagles. That was surprising. The Raiders cut John Brown, the speedster, who we thought had some promise. Washington football team cut Peyton Barber. These are all the cuts that obviously there's about 15, 16 guys from each team that got cut. But these are some of the cuts that surprised me. Nikhil Roby Coleman, the cornerback formerly of the Rams, got cut by the Detroit Lions. So the NFL had the cutdown date, and we were talking about Cam Newton get cut. What about Taco Charlton getting cut by the Chiefs?
No, that's perfectly fine. Back to the Cam Newton thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that the vaccination played a part in it. I think that Bill Belichick didn't see enough from him to be confident going forward, and saw enough to gamble on the quarterback from Alabama. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. We'll see how these other quarterbacks from Alabama do this season. There's a few of them that are running around, right, Cam?
You're right. There's a few of them this year. For you not liking any of these guys, there's
3 starters:
Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Brown.
Mac Jones.
I think
Mac Jones.
Jones. Excuse me. I think Mac Jones, oddly enough, is going to be the best of the 3.
Wow.
And I was.
Cam, you're digging yourself a Beatrice Kiddo type grave here, man.
No, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're digging yourself a really, really deep grave. The way that you keep talking about Tua Tagovailoa not being that dude, and when he comes out and he's able to be that dude, wow.
Clevon, have I been wrong about
it'll be a long time digging out of that grave, man. You have to push,
have I said anything through it. Have I said anything different about Tua since before the draft?
You've never really given Tua an opportunity to kind of try and grow into himself and maturate into a franchise quarterback. You've just always been very, negative and condescending, and
because you don't grow into you don't grow into a franchise quarterback. You don't. Either you are or you aren't.
Did Kurt Warner start out as a franchise quarterback when he first came in the league?
Was Kurt Warner a franchise quarterback, or did he have a couple great seasons? Be honest. Did he have a couple?
He's a Hall of Famer. We put the gold jacket on. So then what are you talking about?
No, he's a Hall of Famer because he had some spectacular years. Let's not talk about.
Now you're trying to. So now Kurt Warner's jacking ain't gold.
No, he
didn't deserve it.
He took the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl, a team that has never been there before. Awesome job. What did he do in New York? What did he do as a New York Giant? Do you recall?
Okay, so you're tarnishing Kurt Warner's. You're tarnishing Kurt Warner's career. Okay.
No, I'm telling you how he got in it.
So all I was saying is sometimes it doesn't happen all at once, Cam. You have to let players maturate into who they're going to be.
No, you don't let quarterbacks don't mature like that. Listen, you bang on Terrell Davis because he had a short career.
I'm not bringing up why are you bringing Terrell into this? We're talking about Tua Tagovailoa and the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, and the fact that you won't give him time to, grow and maturate into, the leader that he's, could potentially be.
Just listen to me.
I just don't understand that.
You bang on Terrell Davis for his short production in the NFL, correct? So about 4 years, right? That's no different than what Kurt Warner has done. Kurt Warner had 2 great years at the beginning of his career when he came in for Trent Green, and 2 great years at the end of his career when he took the Arizona Cardinals. When he took the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl. Okay. That was it. He led the greatest show on turf, came back and took Fitzgerald in them to the Super Bowl, in the middle of the career he stunk. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? You can't deny what I'm telling you.
You're not understanding the analogy, trying to assess his entire career. All that I was saying was that, hey man, sometimes becoming that dude takes a little bit more time than
Oh, you need to
the
bounce
average,
around
other quarterbacks.
So he needs time like Jim Plunkett, and so he's not going to be any good till he's
two-time Super Bowl champion. Is that you're talking about? Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Plunkett was drafted in 1971. So you're telling me he needed 10 years to mature to become a quality quarterback? That's what you're telling me Tua is right now. That's what you're telling me. He needs time to mature. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me. So he needs to go play for the Rams.
I simply said that some quarterbacks take
mean,
more time to mature than others and find their way. You're not giving him time to find his way.
Look. I need Deshaun Watson to find.
Doug Williams took some time to win a Super Bowl, Cam.
It wasn't right away.
I mean, he went to Tampa Bay, dog. And you saw even in Tampa Bay, he had a gun, he had a cannon, he could play in the NFL. Tua has not shown that in his time. That's why he got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Give Tua some time, man. That's all I'm saying.
That's why he got benched for
Give Tua some time.
I'm sick of Tua already.
That's harsh.
Shaquem Griffin got cut by the Dolphins. He's on their practice squad now, but he got cut by the Dolphins. Now, the Eagles cut Philip Dorsey. They also cut your guy, Latrell, Laquan Treadwell. That's your guy coming out of college. That was your coming out of college. He was supposed to be a beast, and 5 years later he's done. He gets cut by the Eagles, who need receivers. That's a bad look right there. Peyton Barber's gone. Equana St. Brown. He's one of the three St. Browns in the league. Apparently, he didn't make it. He's not going to stick around. What surprised me is Everson Griffin gets cut by the Minnesota Vikings. Amir Abdullah gets cut by the Minnesota Vikings. Your boy John Browning. Is it John Browning? Jake Browning, the quarterback from UW.
Jake
gets cut. We have Travis Benjamin, Clinton Dix gets cut by the Niners, and then the Seahawks. I didn't even know the Seahawks had Nkemdiche and his synthetic weed by himself. I mean, did you guys ever hook him up there with some actual true chronic up there? So
Cam, we can't really divulge that kind of stuff, to our worldwide audience, but it is a 206. I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, I'm hoping he got something tasteful.
And fans, give me just one moment.
Yeah, I'm hoping Nkemdiche. You guys remember he got caught in school jumping off the hotel ledge because he said he got some synthetic marijuana. I never heard of the such, but that's what he got in trouble for. So here we're going to talk about shortly when Clevon comes back. We're going to talk about the NFL divisions, our predictions, who's going to win, who's going to make the playoffs in each division. I got my list. Clevon has his list in each conference, I should say. The NFC, AFC. Next year or next week, we'll make our predictions on who actually going to the Super Bowl. But right now, we're about to identify who is our our playoff picks for 2021 in the AFC and the AFC.
Let's do it.
Or who is our playoff picks for 2021? AFC, NFC. You want to go first?
No, you go right ahead. I think that my list is extraordinary, but you go ahead with your list.
Is this your list? You have the Washington football team winning the NFC?
No. Oh. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you just identified.
I just identified the 7 teams that were going to make the playoffs.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clarify. So 17 Cleveland has making the playoffs. Washington football team, check. Seattle Seahawks, check. Green Bay Packers, check. The Buccaneers, check. The 49ers, check. So he has 4 of the 7. He had 5 of the 7 teams correct. Where he goes off the rails is when he has the Chicago Bears and Carolina Panthers making the playoffs. You want to explain that to the people?
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is going to have a great season once he gets a chance to get out there and, step in for Andy Dalton. I think that Sam Darnold is looking for a resurrection. Christian Jackson McCaffrey is healthy. They have some pretty good receivers over there. I think they'll be okay.
I mean, being okay is different than making the playoffs.
Okay, so who are your other replacements for those two teams?
So I have
you were
the
talking
Buccaneers.
about.
I have the Buccaneers. I have the Packers. I have the 49ers. I have Washington.
We already said the 5 of the 7 were the same. So,
yeah.
I mean, let's get down to the 2 that you're referring to.
Well, and the Seahawks. I have the Rams and the Vikings making the playoffs.
Okay, yeah, the Vikings making the playoffs. And you're talking about me.
Yeah. The Vikings are going to be better than the Panthers. Get out of here. The Vikings.
How were the Vikings last year?
Again, that was a slip up.
What have they done to upgrade what they did last year?
Well,
what's so different from last year? As a matter of fact, I see a lot of subtractions. I don't see a lot of additions.
Kirk Cousins is on a revive. I trust Kirk Cousins before your quarterback in Carolina, Sam Darnold. Kirk Cousins.
For real?
Kirk Cousins has some.
Kirk Cousins hasn't had enough time to prove that he's a starting quarterback in this league.
Well, he is a starting quarterback. That's why he has a job. Will he be next year? In the next 2 years? Who knows? But Kirk Cousins will have a better year.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of confidence in him just by the way you're talking. I'm sorry. And who was your other team?
The Los Angeles Rams.
Los Angeles Rams. Okay.
So
Matt Stafford.
The number 1 defense in the league last year.
Cam Akers got hurt, right?
Cam Akers got hurt, but they picked up Sony Michel. We talked about that. They picked up Sony Michel. They have
receivers getting old, right?
They have Sean McVay out there, the genius. So there it is right there, fans. He has the Bears and the Panthers making the playoffs. I got the Vikings and the Rams. Fans, who do you think is going to be in the NFC playoffs? The Bears or the Panthers or the Vikings and Rams? Hit us up on Twitter. Let me know what's good in sport on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
At Clevy Wonder on Twitter, Clevon Steele on Instagram.
Let us know. Hey, that's how you can be a part of the show. Send us a tweet. Let us know you're watching the show, and then we can we'll read your tweets and check out what you have to say. We'll read this. I'm gonna put this out in a poll here later on. But I got the Vikings and the Rams. He has the Bears and the Panthers. We'll see who's right after the night's over. In the AFC, you got the Bills, check. You got the no-name Ravens, check. That's funny you got them in there. You got the Browns, check. You got the Tennessee Titans, check. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, check. And that's where your wisdom erodes right there. I'll give you credit. You have the Steelers, check. So 6 of the 7 teams we agree on. I have the Chargers and not the Colts.
Oh wow! Yeah, the Chargers, not the Colts, not the Miami Dolphins at all. Fans, okay. I'm so sorry. Let me write this down. Was it 751? Okay. No Dolphins.
I don't have the Dolphins. I told you, unless this all can change is if they sign Deshaun Watson. If they sign Deshaun Watson,
that's not happening, so it's not going to change. So that's unfortunate. I think we even had like a little Post-it note. Would the Mariners or the Dolphins make the playoffs first?
Well,
do you see that in front of you somewhere?
Well, the
Dolphins, you don't even have the Dolphins making the playoffs this season with Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
Jalen Waddle.
I don't.
Fans, one moment.
Fans, so go ahead and hit us up on Twitter. Voice of the Fans on Twitter. That's your voice. Excuse me. What's good in sport on Twitter. That's what's good. The letter N, sports singular on Twitter, and let me know who you think is going to make the playoffs: the Bears or the Panthers, or the Vikings. The Vikings and the Rams. That's who I have. He also has. I have the Chargers over the Colts. I have the Chargers over the Colts. I was tempted. It was the Chargers or the Colts, but after looking at both of their records, I had to go with the Chargers because I think the Chargers are going to have a better record, and I'll tell you exactly kind of how I had this broken down. So I have the Chargers going 11-6. I have the Colts going 8-9. With their quarterback struggles, I think they're going to have some challenges to make the playoffs. So let's see what Cleveland has to think about that, has to say about that. But I have it was between the Chargers and the Chiefs, or excuse me, the Chargers and the Colts for that final AFC playoff position. I have the Chargers finishing 11-6. I have the Indianapolis Colts finishing 11-9. So Cleveland,
What? 11-9? What are you talking about?
Or excuse me, 8-9. So I had the Colts. I was tempted to put the Colts, but I had the Chargers. It was either Chargers or Colts to finish in that final playoff spot.
And yeah, the Chargers, huh?
And looking at both of the rosters, I have the Chargers finishing at 11-6, and I have the Colts finishing at 8-9.
11-6. Cam, what are you talking?
11-6. I mean, looking at their roster. I mean, excuse me, looking at their schedule. I had them finishing 11-6. They were, yeah, they're going to take a step ahead. I don't know if you're familiar.
I will bet you $100 the Los Angeles Chargers don't finish 11-6.
What do you have to finish in? You just saying they don't finish 11-6. That's it.
No, if they finish better than that, great. I bet you $100 they don't finish at least 11-6.
And you're on. You're on.
Cool.
We won $100. Says, and I win if they finish better, then, right?
Yeah, 11-6 or better. I mean, if they finish 15-2, yeah, you got it.
Okay. Yeah. So if they don't finish with 11 or more wins, I owe you $100.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, looking at the roster, man, and the Colts with their quarterback challenges, are you confident in Wentz, Carson Wentz?
I am confident that he will have an opportunity to resurrect his career, and if not, Jacob Eason is more than willing to step in and, kind of carry them across the threshold. They have a great defense and a great running game. Their receivers are a little younger, Pittman Jr., whatnot. So hopefully they can kind of, start to mesh and gel with one another, and their offensive line is pretty good as well. So, yeah, I kind of like what they're doing over there. Enough to make the playoffs. Yeah.
I don't know. It was for me that final spot. We got all the playoff. We identified all the playoff teams. For me, that final spot was the Chargers or the Colts, and I just thought the Chargers are going to have a better record after looking at both their records. So we'll see. It's going to cost you $100, but we'll see how this plays out. Fans, let's take a break here. Let Clevon go ahead and look at his fantasy squad and prepare for the next one, for his next pick. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the NBA. We got some NBA topics on board, and some things Cleveland's not going to be happy to hear, but we're going to get to it. Well, you get reunite with Rajon Rondo. You have to like that one, huh? We're going to talk about that here on the backside.
Quick break. And I don't pick for a long time. Okay.
All right, sir. So this Ben Simmons saga continues, man. Now this week, Ben and your boy Rich Paul says we're not even going to show up to camp. We're not even coming to camp now. What's your thoughts on the Ben Simmons refusing to come to camp the way it looks? And what's the best thing they're going to get for him? Should he go to Golden State for Draymond Green? Should he go to Minnesota for D'Lo? What's the best thing for? What's the best? I think it'd be D'Lo and another player though. But what's the best thing for Ben Simmons and the 76ers to resolve their little conflict here?
You know, to be quite honest with you, I hadn't thought of that Golden State scenario. Man, that sounds awesome. You just get a bigger, more skilled Draymond Green, a player that can't shoot, plays great defense, can defend multiple positions, can rebound and assist. You just don't look for him for points. That would be and much younger and much better at it.
On the flip side, how does Draymond Green fit in Philly though?
Well, let's see here. I think Doc will be okay with controlling him. Now, how Joel and the rest of those players kind of respond to that type of, demeanor all the time, every day. Fans, just one moment. Actually, no, let me finish my point here. No, that would be an issue. That would be a problem. And then, the fact that, Draymond's been spoiled by, playing with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And that's not what's going on over there in Philly. So that might be a little bit of a challenge for him as a player. Now, the trade in and of itself benefits Golden State exponentially. If they were willing to pull the trigger on that, I'd be all for it. One moment, fans.
I think that would benefit. I think that would benefit the 76ers as well, because now they're dealing with the same issue. A guy who's not a knockdown shooter. They're dealing with the guy who plays a lot of defense, Draymond, former defensive player of the year. But what they don't get in the shooting kind of makes up in his on-court leadership. So they get another coach on the floor. They get an inspirational player in Draymond Green, the Philadelphia 76ers.
So here's the problem. Here's the problem, Cam. Draymond Green takes like a unique environment for him to flourish in. He's not one of those. He's like a Rodman, right? Like Rodman, with the bad boys. Okay.
But
Rodman with Jordan and Pippen. Okay. No, he sucked there.
Right,
no.
And that's what I'm saying.
That was when he was turning his back on the coach in the middle of the huddle.
Taking his shoes off.
And then he went to LA and Dallas. And it has to be just the right environment for him to flourish in. And if it is, he's awesome. If it's not, it's a disaster. So really the environment for Draymond Green to flourish in?
I think
really.
I think off the court it is without question. I think on the court, you mentioned it. It'll be up to what Doc can do in the locker room, or not necessarily in the locker room, but what kind of magic or pixie dust can Doc sprinkle over the situation. But there's two. He has a player. He doesn't have the backcourt players that he had in Golden State, but he has Joel Embiid, who
he's never played with a dominant big man. He has no idea how to do that.
Well, he knows how to run the floor and bring it up court, and if Joel Embiid gets it, runs.
That's cool. He knows how to run a fluid offense, a motion offense, where you pass the ball around and wait for just somebody to get open, and it will either be Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson or Steph Curry. That's a little bit different than you need to stop and pick and roll and throw entry passes and make sure that Joel Embiid has what he needs.
Don't forget, they also actually have Maxey. They actually have Maxey, and then why am I having a brain fart right now? Who's the shooter? The shooter number 34. The shooter. Why am I having a brain fart on my man's name? I got his.
They have Tobias Harris over there. They have Seth Curry over there.
Who are you
referring to?
And there's a shooter in Seth Curry. I I think with Draymond Green, with they missing scoring, they're dealing with the same issue. They're dealing with the same issue as when they had Ben Simmons, somebody who's not a knockdown shooter, somebody who plays great defense. But what they miss in that scoring, Draymond makes up in that leadership. So for that reason, I think it'd be a decent pick or a decent fit. It'd be interesting to see if that would happen. But they're going to have to do something, and that might be the very best move that they can get out of there. What do you think? How do you think the Capella re-signing with the Hawks? That just makes him more comfortable, more formidable moving forward?
Absolutely. Kind of that whole, Nash Nowitzki or Nash Stoudemire. It's that type of feel is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it was a good pick. I'm not sure why when they had. Well, I know why they got rid of him when they had Harden. It was to accommodate for Westbrook, but I didn't think that was a great decision. Shaq and Dame collab on a new Reebok shoe. Now they did this before Reebok's showed their share of or Adidas sold off their share of the Reebok brand, but Shaq and Dame collabing on the shoe. What's your thoughts on that?
I like it. It's a nice collaboration. It's unfortunate that Dame couldn't, don the purple and gold in the same way that Shaq did. But we never know what can happen in the future. So,
talking about your purple and gold, talk about Rajon Rondo, the re-signing of Rajon Rondo, and what that means. Apparently, he never wanted to leave the Lakers, and he made it known in his press conference. So, talk about the re-signing.
That happens. That happens when you come home, Cam. Like, you never really wanted to leave home. You know what I'm saying? You didn't really want to go over there to, the Clippers. No offense, Mr. Ballmer. You never really wanted to go in the other entrance. You never really wanted to play with all the banners just being blacked out. I mean,
hey, Ballmer,
not the same type of environment.
You hear him, Ballmer? You hear him?
It's unfortunate that he had to do that, but somehow he's found his way home. And, we're all happy about it.
That's another. They got the all Geritol team right now. The Lakers do.
Okay.
How are they going to make this? I mean, what are they expecting? What youth are they expecting to kind of infuse some energy on that team January 8th when they're playing the Washington Wizards, or they have the back-to-back with the Wizards and then the Timberwolves? What youth are they expecting to kind of go off in those games?
Horton Tucker is there for him. Nunn is there for him. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Davis is not that old. He certainly can,
he's consistent. He's just
a spry little guy. He's spry. He's ready to go out there, And they'll infuse some other young talent along the way, They'll be okay.
So it's interesting that vaccines become more prevalent this week in the NFL when your boy Urban Meyer says, we considered letting some players go because they weren't vaccinated. And obviously he got the slap on the wrist there. But do you think the NBA making rules tougher for non-vaccinated players is going to kind of be the deciding factor for some of these guys?
Fans, just one moment.
Tell us now who your squad is, man. You're wasting all the fans' time right here. You're stopping our rhythm. Who you got over there? Who's on the squad? You got Stephon?
Honestly, this is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Well, because you're supposed to put your players in the queue, man. Put your players in the queue and take your best player. That would have been the easiest move. But who you got? What quarterback you get? Oh, you got Dak Prescott. You got Jarvis Landry. You got Stephon Diggs. Did you get a running back?
My team is not really that great, man. Well, and fans, let this be a warning to you. Drafting while distracted, even though you're distracted for a great reason, is a good way to get your team kind of bludgeoned down the stretch.
I mean, you can get used to that because it's gonna happen in the Voice of the Fans League as well. Let the fans know what your team is. Tell us who your team is.
Okay, so my starters. We got Dak. We got Stephon Diggs and Jarvis Landry at receiver. Austin Eckler, Jamal Williams at running back. Logan Thomas.
Oh, Jamal Williams from Chicago?
From Detroit, DeAndre Swift. Yeah.
Oh, you said Jamal Williams.
Right. Chase Edmonds as my flex. Okay. Justin Tucker is my kicker. Got Chase Young. In this league, you have to draft actual individual defensive players. Okay. Chase Young, my D line. Okay. Darius Leonard, my linebacker. Jamal Adams, my safety.
Oh man, yeah. How many damn defenders you had to draft?
3.
Huh?
And then I went back and got Henry Ruggs. Marlon Mack. We'll see. Yeah. Marlon Mack. We'll see what happens there. Chuba Hubbard. Valdez Scantling. We'll see.
What are you all in on Carolina, huh? Did you get Sam Darnold? Did you pick up on Sam Darnold?
You know, I probably actually will pick him up a little bit later. Okay. Drop one of these guys and pick him up.
Come on, oh man, you just want to.
But back to your initial question with regards to the vaccination, yeah, man, those NBA players are a little bit closer, and they're in more proximity, and they play more often. Yeah, you should be 100% vaccinated to do that.
Well, I don't think your guy, the King, is vaccinated. If not, he hasn't made it known.
It's time for the King to get vaccinated.
Okay, hey, you don't have to get an attitude with me. I'm just saying what I know.
No attitude. I mean, apparently, I didn't know you were his physician. Did you know that he wasn't vaccinated? Or? No,
but he would have told everybody I'm vaccinated, and he would have been.
The King is one of those guys that probably assumes the King is one of those guys that assumes that you understand what Kings do, and getting vaccinated is just one of those things you should really be doing. So he assumes that you already know that he's been vaccinated.
No, because he wasn't vaccinated. Remember when he went to go have his wine tour with Drake and Michael B. Jordan?
And that's a long time ago. That was quite some time ago.
That was his past season, and he wasn't vaccinated then. So
okay, well, he's been vaccinated since then. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not his physician either, but you just speculate that he's not vaccinated for some weird reason. It's kind of odd.
So, what else in the NBA, man, is caught your eye this offseason, or has anything caught your eye outside of these Lakers just getting older? The all Geritol team, we might as well call them. Anything else caught your eye outside of Kawhi being injured, and we know Kawhi's not going to come back till March or April of next year, obviously, and then at that point he's going to load manage himself, so he might not. I'm not expecting Kawhi to play next year.
I think the way the Brooklyn Nets, quietly picked up a Paul Millsap type player, that was kind of a big move. I kind of like the way they did that, kind of solidifying their opportunity to win the Eastern Conference. If their 3 head cases come together and don't go off the rails.
We only have one head case. No,
you have 3.
No. Kevin Durant is an MVP caliber player. James
Harden, the burner phone, Mr. Burner phone.
Yeah,
Mr. Back burner phone.
Yep. James Harden just need to stay healthy.
Okay.
James Harden just need to stay healthy, and then
and find the right strip club to go to and frequent often.
Hey, there's enough of them up in the New York area.
Okay.
And then I don't even know what Steve Nash can do with Kyrie Irving. I don't know what he can do to kind of make him play at an even keel. Reading books, bringing in a psychotherapist. That's not going to work. I don't even know what to tell him. The flat earther there. I don't even know. Nobody knows what the remedy is. The remedy might trade him. And would you trade Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving straight up? Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving. Would you do that straight up?
No, not if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers.
Because that might be a problem for real.
Yeah.
That might be a problem for real.
I mean, we all know what Ben's problem is. He can't shoot. We don't really know what Kyrie's problem is.
So you can't
at least the Ben Simmons problem has been identified.
Right. Right. And not knowing is what G.I. Joe used to say.
Boston is still like, wow, what happened there?
Yeah, they're still reeling. They're still reeling, right. Yeah. So I understand you, but if the Nets could sell the 76ers, I know you don't see trades amongst players in the same conference, much less players that you're going to compete for the same title with this season. You know, some players or some teams some trades may take effect that one team is competing now, the next team is competing in a year or two. They're both competing for that Eastern Conference crown right now, and yeah, you don't see a trade like that happen. But I mean, that's a money for money trade right there, right? You get a player for player trade that conceivably could be even, but then when you look deeper and, you know, as you state, one player has issues you can identify, the other players has issues that nobody can identify, nobody knows. So it's going to be tough, man. The Sixers are going to have to do something now. September, they got about another 4 to 5 weeks, man, before they're going to have to make some moves. And
no, they would like to. That would be ideal for all the parties involved, but that's not how it's going to go down. What's going to happen is this will get more and more dramatic every game, and someone's going to suffer an injury, or someone will feel like, "Ooh, we're actually way better than we thought we were." Ben Simmons will be helpful, and then they'll go that direction. It may not happen before the start of the season, like everybody wants. You
don't think it's going to happen before the season? Oh my goodness! I think it has to happen before the season.
Why?
Or else it's just going to be a throwaway season.
It's not going to be a throwaway season. Ben is going to be what he's going to be, and they were pretty good without him shooting. I mean, let's be honest. That was the worst that we've ever seen.
Right.
Nobody passes up dunks because they don't want to get fouled. Right. That's weird, especially when you're 6'10". So okay, but that's not like it's still not Ben Simmons, right? I mean, they were still the second best team in the Eastern Conference, even with them not being able to shoot at all. So they can at least get back to that point. They can just improve, and it can be better for him if they find a trade partner. But if they don't find one before the beginning of the season, then they just have to wait.
So if you're Doc Rivers, do you play Ben Simmons going into the year? Assuming what he said is he was just blowing smoke and says he doesn't want to play, he's not showing up to training camp. If he shows up to training camp and he's healthy and, appears to be willing to play, if you're Doc Rivers, do you play him, or do you go ahead and go with Maxey and Tobias Harris?
No, you play Ben Simmons.
You play Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see how things shake out. That's definitely going to impact their playoff run, the 76ers. We'll see how things shake out. Let's take a little break here. When we come back, man, we're going to talk about this week in history, and then we're going to talk about Ricky Williams is in the news again, and then of course Shohei Ohtani, man. So when we come back, we're going to talk about this week in history and let Clevon go check on his fantasy football team. We'll have an update when we come back, fans, on this fantasy football team as well. Let's take a little break here.
Oh, hey, Cam, I was messing around with y'all, with the fans. They forgot to draft a backup quarterback, but I found one.
Who's your backup?
I'm gonna have to drop one of my players, but I do have a backup.
I mean, come on. So there's 16
That's
teams
still
in the league.
available.
There's 16 teams in the league. There are plenty of backups. You can get Justin Fields later if you're so high.
No. You're not understanding. I've drafted my entire team. I'm gonna have to drop a player and pick up a backup quarterback.
Gotcha.
Right? It's gonna be Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson do they have him down?
No, he's still available.
Do they have him as MIA or HOU?
No, nobody drafted him. So I'm actually going to drop Ty Johnson, running back for the New York Jets, and pick up Deshaun Watson.
But do they have him as MIA or HOU?
It was HOU.
Oh, I'm just saying, man. I'm just trying to clarify. See if they know something we don't.
Yeah.
16-man league, 15 rounds. Nobody picked that dude. And then you wonder why, he hasn't been traded. Just saying.
Well, we'll see how that works out for you, man. Clevon, this week in history, man. Back in 1800, 830, August 30th, 1800, Gabriel Prosser led the slave revolt, but was portrayed in Virginia. This was 1800, excuse me. And a few years later, September 3rd, 1838, Frederick Douglass, escaped slavery disguised as a sailor. Did you know that? Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
September 1, 1867, again, just a few more years later, Robert T. Freeman was the first black to graduate from Harvard Dental School. The first black, 1867. September 2nd, 1996, Mike Greenwald, you might remember this. Mike Greenwald of the Boston Red Sox set a major league record when he drove in all 9 runs in a 9-8 win over the Seattle Mariners. You remember Mike Greenwald?
I do remember Mike Greenwell for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I figured you would. September 2nd, 1998, Jerry Rice signed a 6-year contract for $36 million. The deal made him the highest paid wide receiver in the league. 6 years, $36 million. So Jerry Rice, the greatest of all time, was making $6 million a year. That's crazy to think about, right? I mean, that's 1998. That was what, 23 years ago? That's crazy to think about. Crazy thing, he was still playing right then, actually, because his fame was in the 80s, right? 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you watch Jake Paul beat up on Tyrone Woodley?
No.
Was that fight fixed, you think?
Man, I'm just so disappointed in Woodley. He was so amped up about this dude talking about his mom and did not go out and avenge.
He did.
Don't get all mad about somebody talking about your mom and then get your ass beat. I don't. Yeah.
And didn't do. I mean, it wasn't an ass beating per se, but
still, you didn't beat that dude's ass. You were acting like that was the fuel, that was the motivation, that was the ultimate tipping point, and then you just, it's just a long fight.
You went out there and got crushed. Yeah, it was. He hit him with one good punch midway through the fight, and that was it. Unanimous decision. Jake Paul. I mean, he needed to fight somebody who
wasn't unanimous. It was split, but yes.
Split, it should have been the unanimous. Actually, the judge who had Tyrone Woodley winning he was on the books. What do you think about Javi Baez giving the Mets fans a double thumbs down after they booed the Mets the night before? What do you think about that?
I feel like it's Bobby Bonilla revisited. Do you remember when Bobby Bonilla used to play for the Mets and they were just the season before he came there, right? He was just saying like, "You will never be able to wipe this smile off my face because I'm finally here in New York. I just couldn't be happier."
Right.
And then it just snowballed on him, and he was ultimately playing in the outfield with earplugs on. That's a truth. That really actually happened. That's what it feels like to me.
That's New York, that's New York.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for from New York. Randy Johnson said the same thing when he went there. He was like, just give me your energy. Whatever you got to do, boo me if you have to.
Right.
Oh, boy. Did they ever. Randy Johnson, of all people, right? Yeah. It sounds very much like that. New York can turn on you, and when they turn on you 20 million deep. So it's kind of hard.
Right. The difference between those guys, the examples that you gave with Bonilla and Randy Johnson, is those guys were signed. Like they were signed to long-term deals with the Mets.
Right.
Bobby Bonilla is not Bobby Bonilla. Javi Baez is essentially a rental. Nobody believes he's going to go back there next season. So they have a rental player in there talking shit, and I like it. I tell you what, I like it. I think the fans should be able to boo. I boo when I go to the game, so I think the fans should be able to boo. And then Javi Baez, if he want to respond and give you thumb downs, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? You can't get mad at me because I'm responding to you booing after we have a bad game. So
it's always different. It's always different when you respond that way in Kansas City or Cincinnati or Colorado or Denver.
It goes unnoticed.
You just can't. Again, you don't want the wrath of 20 million that are already kind of arrogant and kind of boisterous and loud to begin with.
Yeah,
that's just a lot to do.
Yeah. Bishop Sycamore, they get throttled by IMG Academy. What do you think about this Bishop Sycamore saga here? Inflating numbers, calling up ESPN, talking about they got 12 D1 players that's already signed deals with D1 schools, and then they go out there and get whacked 58-0 from IG Academy. And then you have the commentators during the game saying, we tried our hardest to find some highlights of some of these guys, and we couldn't do it. I mean, they're essentially those guys. As much as people want to say they were talking bad about Bishop Sycamore, they were just talking bad about their whole production crew and how their production crew didn't do any homework and how ESPN didn't do any homework. How the whole telecast crew was unprepared for that game. What's your thoughts on the Bishop Sycamore saga? And we won't. I doubt we see this again, right?
No, I personally love it, man. It's just like if you're not going to really, delve into what these people are talking about and just whatever they're saying is good to go, then you deserve what it is that you get, and that's why sports is always the ultimate equalizer because ultimately you guys have to play, right? So as much as you're talking and saying whatever it is that you are, ultimately you have to prove that on the field of battle, whatever sport it may be. And so if someone is just willing to just go with just your I don't want to bring like the celebrities and the my daughter's onto this team and my son's onto that team, and nobody really takes the time to really research if this person's actually on the team or not. Well, then you're just showing them pictures and telling them whatever, and okay, well, cool. That sounds like you'd be a great candidate to be on ESPN Friday night. Lazy journalism. I mean, do the extra research and find out what you're talking about. And if you're not who you say you are, then you're not legit, and we won't play your games. But they didn't take that extra step, and that's where they ended up.
And they ended up taking a whooping. Like I say, get throttled. So, Ricky Williams, former Texas Longhorn, Heisman
Toronto Argonaut.
Wow. Miami Dolphin, probably the best.
New Orleans Saint.
New Orleans Saints, probably the best running back Miami Dolphins has had. In all seriousness, to tote the rock for Miami Dolphins, he probably was the best ever. And then the Toronto Organized, yes. He opens up the weed-friendly gym. What do you think about the weed-friendly gym, Cleveland? Have you ever smoked some weed and said, I want to go to the gym?
I have not, but I have heard that it is not the deterrent that you think. And actually, for some people, they say they enjoy lifting after they smoke. Not so much pressure on them, and just the way and the manner in which they do their routine is really cool.
Well,
I have not partaked and then tried to work out, but I hear it's not as bad as you would think.
So, with anything, and what it does is help you focus. And what most oftentimes is what weed, marijuana, it helps you focus on whatever it is you're doing. If you're listening to music, you tune in and you hear every note of a song. You ever hear every lyric of a rap song. If you're driving, you're a little bit more focused in on driving. That drive becomes you just kind of zone in. It helps you with your tunnel vision. So I can see where now you just become so focused on getting these reps in that it'll help with that process. I can understand that to your point. However, there will be some of the longest workout sections that known to man because nobody's in a hurry. I'll give you this one example. Me and some buddies of mine, we smoked before we had a football game, high school football game. We smoked before the game. Most games, I would be able to tell you in detail what happened on every play, from the start to the end of the game. In that game, I don't remember nothing that happened in that game till halftime. It was. I don't remember anything. We went 9-1 that season. That was the only game we lost. It was a close game. We played Mercer Island. We lost to Mercer Island. I think we lost 19-14 that game. I don't recall anything that happened in the first half. The next day I was trying to kind of recall, and before we went to practice, I was trying to think about like what really happened, and before we watched the film, and I do not recall what. I can't recall. I recall warming up, getting off the bus and warming up, and then that was it. The next thing I knew, it was halftime, and whatever happened, we were up at halftime, but I don't recall that very first half, not like I typically do. That's the only time it ever happened, and because of that, I was like, okay, I can't do this. I can't smoke before games. Well, we can wait till after the game, fellas. So that was my one time I tried that. But I know, like, it'll provide you tunnel vision. It'll allow you tunnel vision. It'll allow you to focus on most things that you're doing. Because if you think about it, an artist, they'll smoke and then just dive into their artwork, whether it's painting, drawing, or what have you. A musician, they'll smoke and just kind of get zoned in on playing their instruments or writing lyrics. You just kind of zone in. Do you have that same effect?
I think it definitely could with regards to lifting. What I'm trying to say is that I just don't think it's the deterrent that, most people would think that it would be. Again, it sounds a little bit weird that you can just be smoking in the gym. I mean, that in and of itself is kind of weird. If that, kind of behavior is kind of, encouraged within the, a gym atmosphere. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like, okay, well, that's a little strange. You mean, smoking before you go to work out. Okay, that's a little bit different, but like a smoke-friendly gym, yeah, that sounds a little different.
Reps, in between reps, and probably what they'll probably have a smoking room. They'll probably have some CBD drinks for you, some CBD oils for you. It'll probably be more of that than just kind of open, smoking in the gym, like the ashtrays near the bench press. I doubt it'll be that. So that would be my guess.
A little bit of a novelty, but I mean, Ricky's always been a little bit of a different dude, and obviously physically gifted in a way that very few people are. So he has always been able to kind of get away with that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we have college football opening week this weekend. What are a couple of the games that you're looking forward to seeing, man? Are you looking forward to see the U go against Alabama? Do you think that you can pull that game out? You're looking forward to see I can't see the score of this Ohio State-Alabama game. Ohio State, rather, Minnesota game. What games are you looking forward to seeing this weekend?
Oh, man, if you want to, I don't know any game necessarily I'm looking forward to seeing. It's always the first game. Isn't Ohio State Oregon this week?
Ohio State is up 45-31 against Minnesota.
Okay,
right
so
now.
Maybe that's not this week.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and then we got LSU. LSU is here in LA. They're here to play the UCLA Bruins.
I'm not really looking forward to that game. Chip Kelly, I think, is kind of not who we thought he was. He had a lot of opportunity to do some things at Oregon, and I think it looked a lot better than it was. Hasn't really been able to replicate that type of success over there at UCLA, which is a great place to be able to recruit and do that. So not really looking forward so much to that game because I don't like to see the Pac-12 lose to the SEC over and over again. The Alabama-Miami game is cool, but it's not, don't say the U like it's, like it's, like it's, like it's that you. It's not that you. It hasn't been that you in a long time.
It's a little different than your grandfather's you or your uncle's you. It's not your uncle's you.
It's not that.
No. Oh boy. So a couple games we got. Oregon plays Fresno State this weekend. Virginia Tech plays North Carolina, kind of a little rivalry there just from being out that way. Penn State and Wisconsin. Like that used to be a big game. Penn State, Wisconsin.
That is that would be a big game, like the fourth or fifth game of the year, but we don't know what either one of those teams can do.
Yeah. Alabama, like I say, they play the U. Navy plays Marshall. I'm not sure that Miami game. I might be interested in that Miami game for the first quarter. See how long Miami can actually stay in the game. But outside of that, none of these games are really enticing that I'm looking on the roster. LSU plays UCLA, like I mentioned. Portland State plays Hawaii. Notre Dame and Florida State play on Sunday. Oh, shit. Here we go. Notre Dame plays Florida State on Sunday. Utah State plays Washington. So that'll be Washington. So I guess what we have is the players. The players here arriving at the hotel. The players here at the hotel, along with their LSU kind of cronies here that's already here in the building. So we got some decent games playing this weekend. College football might be more your thing, not my thing. But Clevon, what you claim is your thing. Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. I want you to touch on Shohei Ohtani.
I heard that Shohei Ohtani stole home base, which is a gangster thing to do. That's not an easy thing to do, to steal home base. So it takes a very special type of player to do that. So thumbs up to doing that.
Oh, that's all you're going to give him?
That's all I'm going to give him.
Huh? So he having more stolen bases he set the franchise record in stolen bases. He gets no credit for that?
He set the franchise record for stolen bases?
Yes.
With how many?
If he had 40 the other night, if you say he stole home, I don't know when that happened. A day ago. So that happened.
I'm gonna have to see the report on that one, the printout, because I don't really believe that you're. I believe that you think that you're saying something that's the truth, but I don't think that's the truth.
So against a double steal attempt, and so that had to be his 41st. That had to be his 41st steal of the season, because the 40th he stole was
Okay,
going
I guess
into
let me reiterate what I'm saying.
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't believe that no one in the history of the Angels franchise has never stolen more bases than Shohei Ohtani.
40 bases.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, he stole 40 bases. So I'm gonna look it up right now.
If you're talking about the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim or whatever, I mean that's quite
California,
possible. But if you're talking about like the Angels franchise as a whole, I don't believe you.
Angels stolen base leader. Um, no, I know this isn't. He has, it says this says 22, but that's not right. I know he has 40. I know he has 40 this year. So you can look that number up.
Okay.
You can look that number up if you like. But he is the stolen base franchise leader.
Okay, I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that and
yeah.
come back with a player for you.
And yeah, and let the fans know what you find out. Since
Sure.
you don't want to believe my fucking
No.
homework. Okay? I want to know. We want to know what Clevon believes is. So, do you believe he's leading a major league in homers with 42? Do you believe that, Clevon?
I mean, maybe presently, I haven't seen what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has done tonight, so I can't really say.
You just want to shit on the whole Shohei any way you can, which is fair. So I'm gonna tell you, he's leading the league in homers, RBIs. Do you know who in your lifetime has had 40 home runs, 40 steals, and then a 3.0 ERA? Anybody you know? Anybody you know? Has anybody on the Mariners ever done anything like that?
You know, Randy Johnson back in '97 had those very similar numbers.
He had what numbers? He had 42 home runs. He didn't have 2 home runs. What are you talking about?
Randy Johnson back in '97.
He had how many home runs?
I think he had 43 that year.
Randy, the pitcher.
Yeah.
He did. Randy Johnson never hit 43 home runs. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I think '97 was his career high with 43.
All right, fans, let this guy know. He don't want to give Shohei. Randy Johnson never hit. He was not a hitter. He was a pitcher, 6'10" pitcher. Did he even go to the plate?
In those games where he had to, pitch against National League teams, you can't DH. So.
Come on, man. Give the kid some credit, man. So give the kid some credit. So has anybody had an ERA of 3.0 while hitting over 40 home runs?
Cam, I'm not, right in front of my computer right now, but not to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, you are.
But not to the best of my knowledge.
When you're doing your draft over there?
That was the other computer. I turned that off.
You see, fans, he don't want to give Shohei any credit. That's what we're looking at right now. He doesn't want to give any credit to Shohei Ohtani. Okay? He don't want to give Shohei any credit, but he got some homework to get done. 978. Let me help you out. 42 home runs, 90 RBIs, .978 OPS. That's his. Nobody's doing that. Let's talk about those Mariners. What are those Mariners doing? Give us your 30 seconds on the scrubby Sierra Mariners, who a month ago they were 3.5 back. Now they're 6.5 back. What happened?
No, Cam. Actually, they're still 3.5 back. Kudos to them for being able to battle back. They won 3 straight. They were able to salvage a game against the Kansas City Royals, and then they have actually shut out the Houston Astros, the best team in the American League, the last 2 games. So back-to-back shutouts against the best team in the American League. I believe Houston Astros have not had that happen to them the entire season. So, they're doing well. They're playing well. Justice Sheffield, one of our starters in the beginning of the season, was able to come out of the bullpen, give them some good innings, kind of salvage that victory. So, yeah, they're still in the fight, man. I would be concerned if I were you about trying to make that wager as to whether they will have a winning season this year or not.
I mean,
be very careful, my friend.
So
as a matter of fact, if you're not willing to say that by the show next week, then you just need to stand down altogether, is what the Mariners would like to hear you say. So either proclaim that they're not going to be better than we're not going to have a winning record this year, or just say, you know what, I was wrong. Those Mariners are better than that. So we can do that next week.
Or you want me to come home and help them get to Portland?
No, take some time. I mean, take some time. That's what I'm saying. That's kind of the ultimatum, man. Either say, yeah, they're going to have a winning record, or, hey, nah.
Fans.
Yes, 7 days.
You get 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna wrap things up here. Clevon has his draft he needs to make some adjustments to, right? Make some adjustments to your squad.
I think Deshaun Watson is still available. I think I might go get him to back up my other starter. So.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick.
Back up Dak.
I would get Deshaun Watson too.
Sure.
As I'm trying to put him on the field for real.
But isn't it ironic that he is not available? All right, I'm sorry, that he is still available after 16 people picked 15 times. He's still available.
Yeah,
and then you wonder why he's still a Houston Texan.
No, I would go ahead and
it's very telling. You want to know why he's still a Houston Texan? Because 16 people that had 15 picks are so uncertain as to what his future holds that they won't even waste a fantasy football draft, much less 3 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders.
Clearly, you're playing with some novices. Clearly, you're playing with some novices. Right?
Sure.
I don't know the aptitude or the acumen of those you're playing with. On Sunday,
well, I'll tell you what, Coach Flores isn't going to pull the trigger on that deal, so let's not worry about that.
Well, it's going to be Stephen Ross who says get it done, and once Stephen Ross speaks, Coach Flores has no power there to go either way. So,
well, I mean, he can just step down and stop his whole movement.
Well, he could. He very
agree.
Well could. How many people do you think is clamoring to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
Well, hey, man, when Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson had their power struggle 25 years ago, it didn't end well. I hope it doesn't. Same thing doesn't happen to Flores and Ross.
No, they're. Come on, are you putting Brian Flores in the same breath as Jimmy Johnson?
No, I'm just saying a power struggle between the owner and the head coach that's trying to develop a culture and within the franchise. I mean, sometimes the owner has to stand down.
You keep talking about this culture, man. Tell me about this culture when you just let Pro Bowl caliber players walk out the door.
Like Minka Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, that's number one. Number one. Example number one. You overlook and you don't draft a player like
Jarvis Landry.
That's number two player. Example number two. Exhibit number two. You don't
Laramie Tunsil.
You don't take players like Najee Harris, who could be franchise players.
They have running backs, Cam. So you keep making that like it's a mistake. They have running backs there.
You say that like you sound like when you say they have running backs, you sound like they have a franchise quarterback, which they don't, Clevon. And this is the point I've been trying to make to you.
Cam, do you know Steve Nelson's listening, right?
My conversation has not changed since I went out there in November.
Okay,
I saw.
So the more I hear you talk, you're clearly off the Dolphins bandwagon.
No, it's not about
for the first time since '83.
I've been a Dolphin fan since '83. Okay.
Okay.
since '81.
But this is not the tone of like a Dolphin fan. This is not the tone of the same dude I took to the Seahawks Dolphin game.
This is the very same person.
It absolutely is not.
With the same
You have no
passion.
faith in the coach. You have no faith in the organization. You have no faith in the starting quarterback. You have no faith in the decisions that they've made, and you're just fed up and tired.
I have to call it like I see it.
You said they weren't even going to make the playoffs this year.
I don't have them making the playoffs. I don't have them making the playoffs. What can I say? I'm an objective fan who calls it like I see it. If the coach isn't doing good, what am I supposed to kiss his ass because he's the head coach and think everything he does is great? It hasn't been great. That's what I can easily say that.
They were 10-6 last year.
What would they have been if they had Mika Fitzpatrick? Would they have been able to win another game or two? I think so.
Mika is not walking through that door, Cam.
Oh my goodness!
He decided he wasn't a good fit, and hey, man, it's just better to part ways and go our separate ways.
Yeah, and you know why Mika said
Mika Fitzpatrick.
You know why Mika said it wasn't a good pick, a good fit? Because Mika's not playing. He's not playing for the tank philosophy, right? He's not worried about what's happening next year.
Well, hey, look, he's not a part of that organization anymore. So let's not continue to beat yourself up about it.
And Mika will be in the playoffs next year. I got that. You got that as well. Fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, the Voice of the Fans podcast. I want to, leave you guys with this quote here. Your biggest opponent isn't the other guy. It's human nature. Can you stay focused? Can you stay enthusiastic about your endeavor? Can you stay motivated about achieving your dreams, achieving your passions? That's human nature. To kind of get some success and kind of let down your guard a little bit. But can you stay motivated through those good times and the bad times? Can you achieve the goal that you set out to achieve? And this quote is from Bobby Knight. You know Bobby Knight. You know Bobby Knight in that era he comes from. So when he tells you it's not the other guy, it's human nature, you better believe it, or he's going to get close to you and make you feel it. That's what Bobby Knight's all about. So, fans, I want to thank you guys for paying attention or sticking with the show. I want to thank you guys for paying attention even through Clevon's poor picks of the fantasy football draft. We're going to have a draft on Sunday, the Voice of the Fans fantasy football draft, and we'll recap that draft as well. And I guarantee at the end of that day, Clevon is going to have a sad story about why he didn't get the players he wanted in that draft as well.
No, fans. I will be 100% focused. I will not allow what happened to me in this draft to happen to me in the Voice of the Fans draft. Yeah. Championship.
Well, the draft is on Sunday, and again, we'll let you know how things play out next week, and then it's going to be something to follow along through all season long. We're going to have some of the players on throughout the year to just kind of feel how they're doing and talk about this draft and talk about my fantasy football supremacy over the author Clevon Steele. Right?
Can't wait.
So, fans, thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans. We appreciate you listening. However you're listening, thank you guys for tuning in. Clevon, I want to tell the fans before we let them go, thank them, as always, for making our voice their choice. Thank you, fans. Thank you, Clevon.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
All right, later.